Hello, 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 everybody. How are you
Alright,
doing today? Welcome to
we're
another
live.
live. So you'll be wondering, who do I have here today? If you have been a loyal subscriber or a loyal viewer or friends and family, you know that I've been posting this fantastic personality right here on all my social media, including LinkedIn, talking about what we're going to be speaking about today, which is a very, very powerful, powerful, powerful topic. I know I want to learn from it, and I know that a couple of you want to learn from it as well. So what's the topic? It is stop wishing, start doing. That is really powerful. But before I, go into the professional bio of my guest today, I just want to ask, how are you doing? How are you doing, that foodie lawyer?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much, that proud Black woman, for having me on here. It's such a privilege, and I'm excited to be here today. Thank you. I'm doing great. Thank you.
I'm the one excited to bring you on my platform because, I was, when I started, I reached out to you and I said, one day I'm going to bring you here. And I'm so excited that I was able to achieve that. So, yeah, I'm so excited. And I know a lot of people will be excited as much as I am because I'm already pumped for the topic. So, without further ado, I'm just going to read your
Do
bio and
it.
so Azeezat Adejare is a Nigerian trained lawyer with 9 years post-call experience, currently undergoing the Canadian licensing program to also become qualified to practice in Ontario. She specializes in corporate law practice and has extensive knowledge and experience in corporate governance, company secretariatship, and compliance. She's also a creative writer and content creator with That Foodie Lawyer, a platform she founded to advocate for creating awareness on the laws governing food production, handling, and consumption by demystifying the complex concept of law through relating it with the global phenomenon, which is food. Azizat identifies a life's purpose as being of service to humanity, to inspire and to impact, and she has ensured its fulfillment through personal projects and by actively volunteering for various organizations who are dedicated to promoting the growth and development of the less privileged in the society. Join me as we welcome Azeezat Adejare, that foodie lawyer.
Thank you.
So I'm so excited to have you here. I know I keep saying it, but that's just the way I feel. I'm so excited to have you on this platform. However,
I am excited to be here. Trust me.
I know I just read your bio, but is there anything else that is not professional or not, too up there, but that you want people to know about you, like fun stuff,
Uh, Pretty much. I'm an open book. A lot of people that follow me know quite a bit about me. Apart from what's there, like there's so much more. That bio is a bit old, but still great. The bio doesn't mention the concerts that we had last year, the initiative of the Jollof Concert, which is basically to turn people's minds, to turn our minds as Black people here in Canada to a concept that unifies us all and that brings us together. And beyond that, those that also know me know that I love to dance. If I wasn't a lawyer, I would have been a professional dancer, actually. So
I saw you dancing your jollof concert. I was like,
I'm
okay,
always dancing. Actually,
it
I'm
is
always
fantastic.
moving my body.
I wish, there are two things that I like to do in this world, but I don't have talent to do it. One is to sing, and the other one is to dance. I don't know how to do any of those, but I try anyway. But yeah, it's so refreshing to see. Like, I was so excited seeing you on that Jollof concert. I didn't attend the first one, I didn't know about the first one, but the second one, I was part of it and I enjoyed it. It was fantastic.
I'm
So
so
yeah,
glad. Thank you.
so which is why, because it's something that, especially in the pandemic, a lot of people would have that dream in their head and they'll be discouraged by the pandemic, like, there's no way we can gather to do this. But you were able to bring that into life and it was a success, not just once, but twice during the pandemic. And that's why I thought about this topic, that you are the best person to actually talk to us about actually turning our ideas into reality, and we should stop wishing and creating excuses, right? So you would understand that this is why I was like, You're the best person for this topic. So without I'm just gonna go into my questions, and we just have fun with it. And if people have questions, remember, guys, as you're logging in, please give me a huge thumbs up. Leave your comments in the comment section. Where are you repping? Are you repping Nigeria, Canada, US, wherever you're watching us from? And if you're in Canada, rep your city as well. I'm here from Toronto, and I'm sure our guest is here from Brampton. Is it?
Yes, Brampton,
Brampton.
Ontario.
Yeah, guys, leave your rep your city in the comment section. Rep your city. So one of my questions is, I saw a quote and it says the habit of wishing is only for those who aren't hungry enough for success. I believe this is a very, very powerful statement. So what is your take on this topic today? Stop wishing, start doing. What does that mean to you as a person?
From that quote, something particularly jumped at me, and that's the word hungry. And I remember that I think I've shared this on my platform before. For over 3 decades of my life, I was simply hungry. And I was, of course, not hungry for food, right? I was hungry for impact because I knew like there was so much more to who I am, right? And I just kept looking for that point where I'm able to express what I'm truly made of in order to be able to create the kind of impact that I wanted. So I'm not one with quite a lot of friends, but my few friends know that Azeezat is has a big dream of making solid impact wherever she finds herself. So for the first 3 decades of my life, I didn't have a strong self sense of identity, and so I struggled a lot with finding myself, along with taking that step that projects the desire that I really have. So I had that burning desire and hunger to be more, to do more, to change the world, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
So that quote jumps at me because that was me for so long, right? And it took actually the major point in my life that had like this turnaround was after my relocation into Canada. And I had struggled so much within the first 1 year to even be balanced with my mental health. And that turning point eventually came where I said to myself, you cannot be a waste. And there are, I don't know how many thousand people in the pool that are waiting to have this opportunity that you have and do something with it. And so this is your time to stop being hungry and start doing something about yourself, right? And it was from that point on that things started to turn around very, very rapidly, right? So that quote, I can really, really relate to it. And sincerely, it doesn't really matter how long you stay hungry for, so long as somewhere in there you keep that desire alive to feed that hunger at some point. So there's always that, it's like a process. And I always say that knowing who you are plays a major role in determining how things are going to go for you, or the kinds of things that you even do in the first place, right? And it's not an easy journey. Like some people find it's a smooth ride. For some other people, it's not. And so our journeys are very, very different. But I know that I was still saying to one of my friends a couple of weeks ago, do not stop seeking answers. Do not stop searching for those answers. Do not stop knocking on those doors that you feel will take you to those answers, because at the point where you find that answer, it is so rewarding that, like, the past 2 years for me have been so rewarding. Like, I'm so grateful for the past 2 years. And all the struggles of 3 decades seem like nothing now, right? Like, of course, it's not nothing. The journey is what makes for like a wholesome experience. But I no longer feel down when I think about those things, because I've been able to take my situation and turn it around just by simply staying hungry and determining that I will fill that hunger with food. And food here is not jollof rice, as we all know. Yes.
That really hits the nail right on the head, because that's the truth. Like, just as you said, like, for decades you've been trying to find yourself, and you had said that for you to even make that step, you have to know who you are, and that's a big issue for so many
That's
of
the
us. Like,
starting point.
actually
Yeah.
finding out who we are, what is our purpose on this earth, right? So it's
Right.
like even for me, I'm still finding who am I, today.
Exactly.
I was
It's
just
a
Olufemi
journey. It's a lifelong
Idol.
journey. Yes.
Yeah. In fact, before I became Idol J, I was at Kenroye, and then I got
Mm-hmm.
married and I became Idol J. And now I'm all of a sudden that proud Black woman since last year. But I'm still hungry because I feel like
Yes.
I need to do more. I have this passion to
Absolutely.
also not just excel, but also bring other people along with me, which is why I have this
Right.
channel. Which is why I'm making my little strides as I go. But I'm still trying to find, who am I? What is my purpose? What is that thing that makes me happy? And what is that thing that I feel like other people can learn from me and, take and run away with and make something out of their life? So that's really important, actually finding yourself. So, I never thought about that. So thank you for bringing that, to the fore, so
Yeah.
that people would relate with what you said. And even from what you're saying, using your personal experiences, like, it makes it hit home. It makes it more relatable rather than just saying a bunch of things that somebody else has written in the book. Like, relating with it and making it your own, it makes us see from your own point of view and also relate it to our lives as individuals. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. So now when we read your bio, I saw, you're a lawyer, content creator, creative writer, wife, mom, and I know that you're doing, when I reached out to you, you said you were doing your postgraduate, I think, master's
Yes.
in law. So
Yes.
that's a whole lot of things that you're doing. So you are a woman wearing so many hats. So how has the journey been so far with all of those things that you're doing now, turning the passion that you had, turning it into, a brand? How has the journey been so far, and what motivates you?
Okay, so I'm first of all going to talk about turning the passion into a brand. That was very, very unplanned, right? But let me go back to how has the journey been. So it's been, of course, typical with life. It's been a lot of ups and downs. Somewhat roller coasterly. I mentioned earlier about my first 1 year experience as a Canadian immigrant, and after that, how I started to pick up the pieces of my life together just to make sense of it, and building up to the point where I decided to start to self-express, and that really helped a lot. So, and it was that self-expression that led to the TFL becoming a brand, really, because at the point where I started to self-express on my platform, it was basically just to, like, purge out the way I was feeling and just kind of carry people along. And that was at the point where I asked myself, okay, who really are you? Like, okay, what makes you tick? What makes you restrict people's airflow? What's it about you that will restrict airflow? And that was how that foodie lawyer that came about, because I'm passionate about food. The non-governmental organization that I'm most passionate about and that I support hugely is called the Sidika Foundation. They provide free meals to slums in Nigeria, in Lagos, two locations every month. And I was privileged to be one of their first batch of volunteers, because I hold food generally as a concept so dear to my heart. And so from that experience, I was able to connect more with like food as a concept and the idea of hunger really, because I never really had to experience what a lot of people were experiencing. And so basically by just asking myself those questions and started to express myself in that line. And that was how up until last night, actually, my Instagram page was a personal page. I just converted it to
So this
a business page last night
nice.
because of the realization, okay, like this is now beyond Aziza just doing stuff, right? This is now it's a brand to be taken seriously, and there are plans underway to get it to that point where it becomes like a formidable force in the Canadian space and even beyond. So the journey has been uh uh really roller coasterly. So there's always so much going on, and I remember we were having a discussion earlier before I came on this live, and you have an idea of like how my night went and how rough it was, but we are still here, all smiles, because we have to keep moving. We move, right? Yes. So the journey, it hasn't been so smooth, but it has been very rewarding. A lot of things go on behind the scenes, but you still have to show up and deliver, right? And that's really what life is about. And TFL becoming a brand, like I said, it was that was not the intended. I was just expressing myself, but in the process of expressing myself, as a foodie, as a lawyer, as a Hmm. As someone with life experiences that is not afraid to share her stories, I found a lot of people started to connect with that. And, people would reach out to me in my DMs. Thank you for sharing that. You are so brave for sharing that. Because I saw that, I know that I'm not alone on this journey, and it was really surreal, because this is an Azizat that would hide and not even speak. Like I didn't even, some people used to call me a sadist. I didn't even used to smile, and yes, people the word sadist was used on me a lot. Because they say you're a sadist, you're wicked, some people say you're a snob, like she's so rude. And that's because I kept, like, I was in this shell and I had this expressive blocks, and it was difficult. I found it so difficult to express how I was feeling. And I started to be the one that people could relate to her experience, because I started to take that leap of faith and start doing, right? And so the TFL Jollof concert was a very spontaneous thing. I was just thinking of a post that I wanted to do on World Jollof Rice Day, but the way I'm wired to always see things more than what they appear to be on the face of it. So we should just do a post and say World Jollof Rice Day. Uh-huh. So do you understand? So I started to ask myself, so okay, so what is jollof? Okay, what does jollof represent? Okay, what are the concepts that we can build around it? What does it even stand for? Okay, what does it mean to different people? And I just started putting notes down as I was thinking about it. I was on my Samsung notes, and I just started like typing and typing and typing. I was like, this thing, we can call party on top of this matter, really, and nothing will happen, and nobody has ever done this kind of thing before. And that was just it. Very, very out of nowhere, super spontaneous. And here we are today. So and it's part of what we're talking about, like just start doing it. Like when I was thinking about it, when I have those ideas, I get really excited. And once it hits me, I don't see any, I don't want to move. I don't see any barrier. I don't see them. So I was just thinking about that, like, okay, we will do it, and I tried to reach out to people, and God was so fantastic. And people really loved the idea. Of course, I got some backlash about having to do a virtual event, a food competition online. Like, are you okay? And I was and I was saying to myself, I'm very okay because the narrative needs to change, and we need to change the way people look at things. And we Black people, we Nigerians in particular, do not like the idea of change, right? And we're in a pandemic situation where things are changing left, right, and center. So why not? Absolutely, we will have a full competition virtually, and it's going to be fantastic, And
It was
I
fantastic.
didn't, and I didn't let those comments just weigh me down, and I just went for it. And that's another thing. Whenever you have that burning desire in your mind that this is what you want to do, don't see any barrier. Like me, I don't see it. I don't care what I have to do. It will happen, of course, with God, but it will happen, right? And the
It's
things
planning.
that yes, and the things that motivate, like what motivates me really is desire to be more, desire to make impacts. Like that's I'm really huge on that. And a lot of people ask me, yeah, not even what's in it for you. And so, like, what you made? Did you make money from Jollof Concert? I didn't make money from the Jollof Concert. I made like I was spending money. I made $0 from the Jollof Concert. It's just like my way of like giving back, my way of being a community supporter. And yes, that's pretty
And a
much
lot of
what
people were happy. A lot of
motivates.
people were happy you made
Yeah.
something to do, especially in the Christmas period, the one that I came, that I attended. And one
Yes.
thing that I was so impressed about, apart from the entire contest itself, was the fact that you included inclusion and diversity, and you made me think outside the box because when you
Yes. That was
me,
the idea.
I wanted to come talk about inclusion and diversity, like the food culture. I'm thinking, how do you know, that I
But
was
your
actually
speech
at
was
work.
great. It was one of my favorites. Like I loved it. Like I because
Thank
of
you.
the whole atmosphere during the event, I couldn't listen while you were giving it. But later
Mhm.
that night, when I sat down and watched it on YouTube, oh my god, it was like I really really loved it. Thank you for that.
Thank you for that. So I like it. It was it made me think outside the box, as I said, because I never thought of food in that light as a
Mm,
unifying factor for like race,
mm,
for ethnic
mm-hmm.
groups and all of that. So I was like, you know what? That's true. Like this is a conversation that we need to have. And I remember that day I was at work and I was training like 2 or 3 people that day. So while I
Mm.
was training them, there's a deck of slides that I was supposed to go through. I
Okay.
had to delegate it to one of them. I was like, give me 1 second. Because as I was thinking, the ideas were coming. So I picked up my notebook and I was writing something like before I forget it. So I wrote a whole couple of things. And then when I got home, I decided to build, around it. And I ended up having so many things that I was like, oh, I only have 5 minutes to
Really,
talk.
like there's actually a discussion around this. Like you'll be surprised at how much you find, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, when you're doing the thing that people need to know is those ideas are in your head that you're wishing and wishing. If you don't get up
Mm-hmm.
and do something about it, you're not only affecting yourself, you're affecting others. Because the same way you got up and said, the Jollof Concert, I want to do it. And then you reach out to me. And then it also got me thinking. And then that
Mm.
made me to expand my knowledge about things and research things. So in that way, I've also been affected by that step that you took.
Yeah.
So that was really really fantastic. And I'm sure that a lot of people also have their own testimonies from that as well. And
Yes,
even those
testimonies were great. Kept
yeah,
coming.
that participated in that. And I'm sure they were able to get more people to order from them, the chef and all of those people. So it's really fantastic. And those that also were just enjoying the music at home, right? So yeah, a lot
Good
of times we
times.
need to take that step, not just for ourselves, but also affecting other people around us positively. So that was really fantastic.
Thank
So
you.
now to my next question. So many people create a bunch of seemingly, valid excuses, right? Why they cannot start doing what they vision, or like finances. We all know everybody's like, "Ah, I can't be putting money in what I've not started making money from, right? Fear of failure, as you said, people were like talking back and all of that, and even criticism from other people saying,
Yeah.
"Are you crazy? How can you do a
Yep.
food contest virtually and all of that? How do people taste it?" And if you had listened to those people, maybe TFL would not be a brand today, right? So, have you ever had setbacks in the process? What was the attitude towards the failures, and what were the lessons you learned?
Hmm. Setbacks, yes, absolutely, of course. um, First of all, there was the 3 decade setback that I talked about earlier. That's definitely something. Ooh. And beyond that, of course, finances are all we know, right? Finances are always a pain. What else? The backlash from people. What would people think? What if I don't succeed? And sincerely, I would not be honest if I say that these thoughts don't creep in, right? Or like these things, I don't experience them. I just do it and I do it. No, nobody just does it and does it, right? So those feelings would come, but for the kind of person that I am, I've like the way my mother trained me. Momsy, shout out to you. She trained us to always find ways around stuff. So I improvise a lot because she brought us up that way. So like there were situations around the home where things weren't going right. And there was a time, remember this, there was a time we were broke and my mom made this food and it was yam and palm oil with onions. And she diced these onions so beautifully and with palm oil, and that was it. And when she presented that meal to us, like you would just tell you those people in 5 star, it was like as if they're not even chopping life. It was I that morning I felt like I was on top of the world, and that was the attitude, the kind of attitude that she created, like the kind of virtue and the kind of life skills that she empowered us with, because really nothing has meaning unless the meaning you give to it. Really, any idea or concept or statement in itself is only as powerful as the meaning that you give to it. And so I always replay that morning with my mom in my head because it was such a beautiful moment and it just stamped a lifelong lesson in me, because my attitude towards the way I look at things is always very different. So there is no money. Okay, so how can we go around it? Because there's always a way to go around stuff. So how can we go around it? If there is no money, do you have people? Can you do instrumental payments? Can you take a loan? And I remember my first step towards finding self. I had gone to talk to like a therapist, and I got my bill, and the bill was, and I was like, where will I get this money from? And I just told myself that it is doable because there's always a way. So excuses only I don't know, it only draws us back because there are a
Yes.
million and one ways to go about stuff. So if there is no money, do you have people? Do you know people that know people? Are there referrals that you can get? If people are saying it doesn't make sense, does it make sense to you? So long as it makes sense to
To
you,
you.
people will adjust. Do you understand? The first edition of the TFL Jollof Concert was so successful that people wanted a second edition. And who would have thought? Because I was like thinking, oh, virtual events, oh, people are already cussing me out. So people don't want to eat jollof rice, you know. But look at where we are today, and I've actually been getting some messages like, what are we looking out for this year? Are we gonna have something this year? And I'm saying, man, I'm
I
tired
have
of
a
virtual.
question
Oh.
about that.
I don't want to do virtual this year again. No, I'm tired of virtual. But it just goes to show that the narrative is changing. People are becoming, like you said, like when you start conversations around these concepts, it just becomes an eye-opening experience for everyone, really, even beyond the person that conceived the idea. So I would just say the attitude is everything. Attitude, attitude, attitude. If the attitude is not right, if the attitude is that these things are barriers, of course there would be barriers. If the attitude is this thing is doable, you will find a way. And the truth is, when you start to channel your mind towards a particular result, resources along that line start to creep in from nowhere. Like you will not understand it, you will not be able to explain it. When I was conceiving the idea for the Jollof concert, I didn't know how anything was going to be done. I was just putting it down, and I was very excited with the idea in my in my mind, and I was already jubilating and celebrating in advance, and I was convinced that it was going to be a success. So attitude, and I wasn't seeing any barrier from anywhere. I wasn't seeing anything that would say we cannot call party on top of jollof rice. We, of course we can, and so attitude. Tony, I see you. Tiwai, welcome, my babe. Thank you for joining. So yeah, so that's just what I have to say about that. Really, attitude, the interpretation that we give to things, and see, life is about improvising. Really, life is about improvising. Yes.
So talking about the attitude that really struck something, because yesterday I was actually on YouTube watching stuff, and I was up watching Oprah Winfrey, and she had said a quote that I was looking through my phone to find that quote, and what she said was, if you concentrate your life thinking about what you don't have, you will never have enough. And that's
That is so true.
put it down on my notes in my phone. Like, like I had to put it down. I was like, wow, that's powerful. Because if you keep thinking,
Yes,
I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have finances, that you will continue to think that, and you will never have enough. But if you work with what you have, take the first step. Don't worry about what comes after. Then you take the next step, and you take the next step. Before you know it, you would have covered a lot
things
of
will
ground.
fall in place. Yes,
You fall in place. So yeah, we should stop thinking about the things that you don't have and work with what you have. You At least you will have something. As you said,
exactly.
you have people that can invest in you. Do you have people that can donate? Do you, what are the things that you can just go around and make something? So that's really,
Yes,
really
yes, and it's really profound that you mentioned that, because for the first edition of the Jollof Concert, and even the second one that I did in conjunction with Canada vendors,
mhm.
we had, the community was so supportive, and we had so many sponsors. And when the program ended, I was just looking at myself, like I had about 70 people to reach out to say thank you, and I'm like, oh my God, like how did this even happen? And excuse me, it just says a lot, like, because you have that idea and you're thinking it's not good enough, and people are really really excited about it, excited for you, excited about the idea itself, and they're willing to give an arm and a leg, like, man, this thing is going to be successful, and we're going to go all out for you because we love what you're doing, or we love the impact that this is making, right? And sincerely, I was overwhelmed, to say the least, because I was just thinking, oh my God, this person again. And I'm like, oh my God, this person again. And before I knew it, like, and I was making a list, and I was just sending out emails, and I was like, oh my God, 50, 60, 70. Oh my God, like, where did all these people come from? And this is, uh, this is me, that it's not like I'm all over the place and in people's faces and very extroverted and all that, right? So yes, there's no limit to the things that we can do when we decide that there will be no barriers to what we can achieve, really, because
once
we'll
you
be
start,
surprised. Yeah.
continue and take the steps. And my 2 cents is, sometimes failure are there to just point you in the right direction. Maybe you're going in the wrong direction,
Tell me
and when
about
you
it.
just have that failure, it's telling you, wrong way, wrong way. Take a
Yep.
U-turn, right? Or sometimes it just wants you to reevaluate your entire plan for that project that you're doing, and reevaluate and re-strategize, and then that way it would shoot and just keep going. But a lot of us, the thought of failure just scares the living daylight out of us, including me. Like, there's so many projects that I want to do, or that I've already put my feet in, and already I'm thinking about all of these things, and I'm already reaching out to a lot of people, concerned and scared about how it would turn out. But sometimes when I go back and sit down and watch some of these videos, when I bring the speakers,
Hmm.
it's empowering. And I felt
Yes,
like if it could empower me, that I'm bringing the speakers, one way or the other, it might be empowering other people that are watching. Because this is my
absolutely.
diary right now, where I can always go back and re-listen. Because while I'm doing
Very
the
true.
program, a lot of things I would miss, because I'm trying to do a lot of things at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
converse with people on that are
Google, yeah.
all of that. So a lot of things I might have missed, but then when I sit down after, as you said earlier, like when I came on your program
Mm-hmm.
and I spoke, you're so busy, right? But when you sat down and then listen, you're like, okay, this made sense. And that's the same way that I feel, because while I'm here right now, I have my attention is with you 60%, and then with the audience like 40%. So when I sit down and I listen to other things, it makes a huge impact on me as a person.
Mm.
I began, at least for the past few weeks, that I was telling on my live stream yesterday, I was saying something about I'm going to be making an announcement at some point, but I want everything to click first. But it's something from one of the uh, things that I've picked and chosen from everything
Mm.
I said, that's making me to make that step and to make that move. And I
Yes,
know that at the end of
absolutely.
the day, it's going to be a fantastic result.
And I
So,
caught up on some of your videos last week. I think I dropped some comments and they were really empowering. Like I loved, I think I let you know. I dropped, I was like, this is empowering. Like
yes,
I felt blessed. Yes. I
I
felt
do.
so blessed.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So, guys, remember to give us a thumbs up as you're coming in. If you're not subscribed yet, just do your girl a favor and subscribe. And as well, rep your city, rep your country, rep your town, wherever you're watching us from, just leave it in the comment section, okay? And also show our guests some love and, with a thumbs up. So, how did you feel seeing your idea take shape and all the hard work and resources that you put into it actually come to life? Like, what was the feeling? Because we need to
Oh
know.
my God. This is
So
this
that we
is
know.
a very emotional question, really. It is
Mm,
this question that you just asked me. Oh my God.
yes.
It still feels unreal. I'm not even kidding you. It feels unreal. I was saying to you earlier how I felt overwhelmed with the love. Like I couldn't believe it with the support. And up till now, I still feel like when I think about it, I still feel like how did this whole thing even happen? Like how did this happen in the first place, right? And just somebody that was thinking about a post to put up for one day, and we're talking about a crowd of over 1,000, and it's it's humbling, really. It's really humbling because, like I said, I put out a very emotional post after the first edition of the concert, and that post was dedicated to everyone who never thought like much about themselves. Like you never thought you could do something, or you never thought like you amounted to anything. Like there is so much to everyone, and that is the truth. And I'm particularly grateful for that experience because of my children, because I don't want them to have to wait 3 decades to find themselves. And that is part of the things that motivate me to do the things that I do, right? And even beyond, a lot of people reach out to me after the first edition. Okay, because of you, I now have the courage to start this. Because of you, I'm gonna launch my recipe book. Because of you, I'm going to start my YouTube channel. And like me, God, I never get the courage to start the YouTube channel alone. Because I need training. Please help me.
Well, on this
but
work
but
together.
really it is super humbling, and I'm really grateful because the whole idea is impact. Like that's what drives me. Impact is what drives me, for
Mm,
myself, even for my like there were a lot of lessons that even I myself as a person got from my own ideas, because of course there will be different experiences that situation would bring forth that I had to also learn from, right? And so impact for myself, for my kids, and for everyone out there that just needed someone to show that these
mm,
things can happen, these things are doable, and they don't have to be perfect. When I was watching the second edition of the Jollof concert, and E-Ticketify had done all the packaging and everything. Shout out again to TY. And I was watching the first edition. I was like, how did we not do this first edition like this? But it was like nobody really cared because it was so much fun. And the idea was what was driving people. And of course, the excitement. That day was as if I was on drugs because I myself was super pumped about the idea, about the initiative, about the support and everything. And it was really contagious because people could feel like how I was vibrating with excitement. And really, that's what we really need to move mountains. When you are so convinced in yourself, in your abilities, and nothing is going to hold you down, people get the message because the vibe that you're going to project, people will be able to catch up on that vibe. And so it is very, very uh humbling for me to be here today, even on your show. I would never have envisioned this for myself just 2 years. Okay, well, in 2021, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And there is so much power. Like I like to say that my physical appearance is a representation of what resilience is. And then my soul is a representation of what power is.
Wow.
Because I have had 1 million reasons not to even rear my head up to do anything good for myself, right? Like in one of the experiences that I would share randomly on my platform, I talked about how I was constantly bullied for coming top of the class. This happened for 6 straight years. No kidding. And then there was the icing on the cake where I was beating blue black. What did I do? What was my offense? You came top of the class.
Wow.
And imagine taking that. It was my last day in elementary school, in primary school. That happened on my last day. Imagine taking that experience into the world, because once you get to high school, that's a different ballgame, especially in Nigeria, boarding school, away from home, away from mommy and daddy. So imagine someone bringing you down to that point, to that very, very, very low point on a very remarkable day of your life, and you have to go with that into the real world. Shout out to Moyo, shout out to Lady Arike, my sisters, I see you. And you have to take that to the real world to face life at age 10. And I'm looking at myself today like, how did I get here? Because I had every reason not to. And so I started to be scared of performing so well. And as a matter of fact, if I'm being honest, after the first edition of the TFL Jollof Concert, I crawled into my shell for about 2 months because I couldn't understand that level of success. I didn't know how to handle it. So it was almost as if I was at the point where I'm being apologetic for being a success. That should never happen to anybody. That should never happen to anybody. In the Canadian space, you cannot even be covering success. You know, like we're in an environment where you have to edify the things that you do, you have to blow your trumpet, you have to sell your market so that you can pack your coins, like Dr. Adi would say, you know. And if I had stopped fighting or stopped being hungry, I wouldn't be on your show today to talk about stop thinking, start doing. Because I wouldn't be doing anything, because I would have just said to myself, there's nothing about me that can be great, because when I'm great, bad things happen to me. And of course, it's still an ongoing journey. Because like I said, after the first edition of the TFL Jollof Concert, I tuned off. But we move, right? Because I am now coming to the point where I know I'm deserving of, like, look at this girl, like there's still the power inside. It's still plenty. OPG, it's still plenty. We have not even brought out 1/3 of what's inside. And so I was just reflecting about like my journey from then way back up until now. And I was just like, there is nothing that represents resilience more than this image that you're seeing. And what is inside, nothing represents power more than what's inside in my soul. Because what I stand for is beyond any barrier or any challenge that can come my way. And this is the type of impact that I'm always passionate to make. And I don't hold back with my experiences, with my stories. I don't hold back because you don't know who needs to hear it.
Exactly. So I feel like I'm going to be channeling Oprah a lot, because from everything you're saying, it just well, I'm going to go back to my note again, and what you said about you crawling back into your shell after the success, because it's like you're apologetic. And there was this thing that when I was watching one of her shows, she had said, and she was like, when she started making it in life and publishing how much she made, that people will be like, "Ugh, she's too full of herself," and things like that, and she will feel some type of way. But later on, she said something. She said she started to consider it as a compliment, because if you don't have anything, then the world will not be, raising their nose at that. What did she do? So she started to see it as a compliment, and then one thing that she held on to was that don't be shy to honor yourself, because if you don't, nobody will honor you. Just shout it. It's not like you're being what, borrow me one English. It's not like you're being like you're being loud or whatever. You're arrogant. Thank you. It's you honoring yourself and seeing that for people to raise their noses and say, "Oh, what the heck does she have?" Consider it a compliment, because then you know that you have power in you. And then she said another thing in another show, entirely different. And she said something that I also wrote down. She said something about she said you should she said surround yourself with people that fill at your cup until the cup runneth over.
This is so true. This is very important. That's super powerful, and I'm really grateful for the kind of people that God has sent my way since like this journey of the TFL brand. My sisters are here on this live. I love you, sisters. I love you. I love you guys so much. Like, it's when you have people that are in your corner for not for what they want to get out of it, or like people genuinely interested in seeing you succeed, and it's why I always I'm a huge fan of Moyo Sadiq. Like, how we are so plenty on her neck, and we are so plenty on her neck, and she just graciously gives herself to everyone, right? Like, everyone must succeed. And she started a movement with Niger Lawyer in Canada, because that is not just an Instagram platform. That platform is a movement. Lady Arike's platform is a movement. Canada Vendors platform is a movement. Nifi Signature Montreal Vendors platform is a movement. E-Ticketify has held us down back to back since she launched her new initiative, and she's making huge strides. And when you're around these sorts of people, they drive you to do more, to be more. And so when God blesses you to have a supportive family, shout out to my husband, Azeezat Adejare. Shout out to you, sir. To have a supportive family. Shout out to my mom. She's, and you have people in your corner that are rooting for you, that would give everything. Scale up, babes. Scale up, mama. To see you succeed, it is such a huge blessing that nobody should take for granted. Like, talking seriously now, it is so huge, because you never see yourself beyond a certain level, when you don't have people that drive you, I am very, like I said earlier, I don't see anything. I don't think there's anything that I see just on the face of it. Because there's always messages, there's always meanings to solve, there's always layers to everything. Right. So simply having a relationship with this person, I believe there's a meaning. I believe there's a deeper meaning, right? And it's why we were peeling the layers on jollof rice as if it was onions, because jollof rice cannot just be jollof rice, you know, and nothing is really anything. Like everything there's a deeper meaning to every single thing you can think about, you know. I'm wearing a pair of glasses. There's so much to this, right? And it's the same way with everything. And so relationships are not to be trivialized. I have a unique sense of appreciation. Like one of my greatest virtues is loyalty, and it's really a big deal for me, because when people give themselves to you or give an arm and a leg for you, you should always have their backs. And that's like one of my greatest, the virtues that I hold dearest to my heart.
That's really fantastic. And talking about Moyo Sore Sadiq, so she was my guest last week. And
yes, I caught up on the video last week.
And
it was such
already
a fun session.
Yeah, we mentioned something about, fleeing from pessimists. And she was like, when you surround your people with people that, when you say, well, as soon as you start to complain and say, this thing, I don't want to do it. And you say,
then don't do it. I'm married.
What bit is it by force? Don't kill yourself. Then you need to get yourself out of that environment. So that's why what Oprah had said about, surround yourself with people that fill at your cup until it feels like really powerful, really important. Like you put yourself in that mindset that if I'm the Olojukan or one-eyed person in the midst of blind people, then I think you need to scale up, as Lady Arike just said.
Scale up your circle.
Run. That's not that, because you have so much more in you, that more than you can even imagine. Because when you take a step and you continue to take more steps, more opportunities will begin to open onto you. You begin to find out more things about yourself that you didn't know that you had within you.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That is so true.
And that's the truth. You remember, I didn't even know. Okay, so fun fact: myself, Moyo, and Azeezat went to the same university. We're in the same class, wearing clothes then. But it's so funny how life brought us all together during this pandemic. I was like, oh wow, Moyo is here, and in fact, I'd spoken to you several times, and I've even done business with you back in the day. But Moyo, I never said one word to ever, right? So it was last year. I was like, when she reached out to me to come to interview on a platform, I was like, oh wow, you're here too. Like it was meeting people, and then due to this pandemic and everybody coming out with initiatives that has been bringing us together virtually, vendors and all of them, I've been able to spread myself out. And sometimes when I sit down and watch myself, I'm like, when did I start to talk like this?
I know. The first time I saw you. The first time I saw you on Canada Vendors Virtual Marketplace, I was saying that, Fikemi, we were both part of the laid back gang.
Yeah. Some people graduated and didn't even know who the heck
I know.
I am, right? Because I would not say anything. I just come to class, read my book, carry my book, and go. The only two friends I have that we were like the musketeers was Sheye and Duni. And it's so funny how life has also the space has been between us because of going everywhere, and it's been sometimes I sit down and I'm like, oh wow, I need to reconnect with these ladies. But that was what got me through university. I was that person that sat in a corner, didn't want to express, and I didn't even feel the need to push for anything. And when the pandemic started, I had to rethink myself because I didn't have any network. It was just me, my family, and I. Nothing. But when the pandemic started, I sat down, I started thinking, you know what? I have so much in me that I need to find out. So this is like a journey of discovery for me. I'm also bringing everybody along with me. And some people see me or message me and think like I'm all that and a bottle of Martina or a pack of cornflakes. I think I'm also on that journey of discovery, like trying to discover myself. But at the same time, I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone. While I'm discovering myself, I want to bring others along with me as well. So, Lady Arike, I'm still coming to look for you. I'm also bringing you. I reached out to you and I said, I'm going to come look for you because I believe that everybody has their story. And no matter how, either promising or depressing it was, there's a story to, there's a lesson to learn that somebody else going through that can, learn. And when I had a show with Latoya Belfon, and we talked about inspire to empower. And we're talking about, people, influencers go out there and hide that part of them where they're down, but only put the part where they're happy. So you don't know that you're not motivating people, because people that are going through the bad part, they wouldn't be learning anything from you. They will only be seeing that this lady is always making it big, and that they're putting pressure on themselves. So I come to the, sometimes I wake up, I'm in my hoodie and I'm just making a video and I put it out there without makeup, without anything, because I want you to see the real me. So that when you see me tomorrow, you won't be surprised like, is this not the woman that we see online that's always you see the same me, the same attitude? There was a time my boss was talking to me at work and was like, he watched one of my videos and it felt like he was actually looking at Fikemi on there. I was like, yeah, it's Fikemi. She was like, yeah, but people, when they go on like a different personality, they have a TV personality, but the way I gesticulate, the way I talk and laugh, that is still the same thing. I said, yeah, that's what I want people to see, that you can be your real self. Otherwise, if you're intending for the internet, you're going to lose yourself. You're never going to go through that journey of self-discovery and know what you're capable of. So that's, for me, before I take the entire show away from you, but that's just what you need to know.
Yes.
That, express yourself and, bring other people along, because you don't know who's watching your every move and learning.
I totally agree. Yes. And we are really just like, I saw your post about this program on your feed yesterday. I was like, your speaker is bringing wealth of experience. Like, wealth of experience. Whoa.
Because I know you have that
experience. We are still in the journey. It's a journey.
Yeah, so it's just
hi, Temidayo. Shout out to Temidayo. She's a huge supporter. Thank you, sis. Thank you.
So it's really important that we all help one another on this journey, and we all discover and we all build wealth around ourselves as people of the Black community, people of the Nigerian community. It's really important that we all assist one another. And as I was talking about myself and Moyo, we're talking last week, and we're talking about, back in the day, like 2 years ago, I would say, when you come as a new immigrant, you talk to people that have been here grounded already. They'll be like, hey, yeah, they don't want to tell you what the secret was. What did they do? Because they're feeling like, oh, so you want to do fast track.
You have to go through it too. Yeah.
And that's why we're not building wealth. That's why we're not growing as we want to. If you give people, because when I went through the licensing journey, there's so many, I didn't have any network. I had to find out everything by myself. And then now when people reach out to me, I want to tell you, well, you don't have to do this, do this, do this. It will help get there faster. That's my happiness, that people don't have to struggle the same way I struggled, right? If you know something, let them. It's not going to take out of what I already have. I already have my licensing. So me telling you the tricks and strategies that I used, it wouldn't,
diminish you in any way. Yes.
Why you say, oh, yeah, sorry, just continue to read. We know God will open doors, but tell us your strategy. And that's really important as people of the Black community, people of color. Let us assist one another and let us push one another. That's all I have to say about that. That's all I have to say about that. So before, I know people have been showing their love. Let me just put a couple of them on the screen. And so Lady Arike said, my book is now on Amazon, so I'm now.
Oh yes, that dropped yesterday. Please go on Amazon and grab our book, The Cost of Our Lives.
Leave the name of it in the comment, Lady Arike, and where to get it, guys. That book is fantastic. I watched. I didn't attend the launch, but I watched the video again, and see, this is what we're talking about: surrounding yourself with people that fill at your cup. Because I saw so many people come to support her, and I was overwhelmed. And I'm imagining how was she feeling at that point. I could be overwhelmed. I would like. In fact, we'll keep this till I bring you on my channel, okay? But yeah, guys, please go show your support. Go show your support to Lady Arike. So my next question. Oh, let me drink some water because at this point,
Drink water, drink water.
So from your experience, what will your advice be for people who fear taking that very important first step towards doing what they have been wishing for? What's that advice that you give to those people that want to take that first step?
Okay, so with regards to taking first step, there are like I was saying earlier, there are like layers and layers and layers of situations or scenarios to every current situation that you find yourself in. So I think asking questions, I would say, ask yourself, what is this fear rooted in? Because a lot of times there are hidden struggles that people have not come to terms with, or people have not taken steps to sort out, right? And so there are almost always underlying factors to a situation of fear, or like if I do, for instance, if I say I go back into my shell whenever I see that I succeed. Of course, there's some underlying factors to that. So I think asking questions, seeking, because without addressing those underlying factors, you can't get to the point where you want to do or take that leap of faith or take that step. Because if you take the step, the fulfillment is not going to come. It's not going to be there. So identifying what the struggle really is, asking those questions, and taking care of the underlying factors or situations or challenges or experiences is like the starting point, really. So we hear a lot of just do it, you think it, if you think it, you can do it. Stop thinking, start doing. It's not that simple, really, and nothing is really that simple. So that's just what I have to say, because I don't want to overflog this. There's always underlying factors. Find out what those are. Ask questions. Seek within yourself. Seek help if you need to. Find out what those underlying factors. Because at the point where you find the answers and you answer the questions that need to be answers, it's a springboard to like unimaginable achievement and success, really.
Definitely. And talking about checking what the underlying factor is. For so many of us, it could be psychological, what you've been through in the past, as you talked about. And
More
the way
often than not, it is. Yeah.
So sometimes we need to walk through those, relieve those in our mind and think,
that's
what
the
is
starting point, really. Exactly.
that pushing me down, that is suppressing that creativity in me. And sometimes, especially when I had to bring somebody in to talk about mental health the other day, in the Black community, let me say, particularly Nigerian community or African community, we end up shaming people that come out with mental health issues. At the end of the day, you need to talk to somebody. If you can't do it by yourself, or if you don't have people around you that you can talk to, you might need professional help. And for this reason, I'm just going to leave a name here. It's called Mommy Monitor, because it's expensive. I've also had to see a therapist at some point when I just had my baby my second child. And I had to see a therapist, and it was expensive. And it was like, and I had to pay out of pocket, So last year, when the pandemic started, this organization called Mommy Monitor, I'll type it on there. You can check them out. If so far you identify as Black or somebody of the Afro-Caribbean community, it's free. So if you can type it online and you go check it, I wouldn't mention the name of the person because I never even told the person that I take advantage of that. And I'm being vulnerable here, bringing this up here. It is important, your mental health. And you don't have to be shy about it. You shouldn't even be apologetic about it because you're seeking help. That's the truth. So this person, I put it on their WhatsApp status, and I'm forever internally grateful to this person. I didn't tell them anything. I just took it from there. And I decided to share it now because I've shared it with 2 or 3 people as well. It's completely free. There will be a calendar and there are so many dates on there. Just choose a date. And there's a question, do you identify as Black or somebody of Afro-Caribbean, blah, blah, blah. You put yes, and you will get a call. You can either
That's
do video
fantastic.
and you can get the 30 minutes or the 1 hour session as well as a group session, right? So I always do the 30 minutes whenever I have my break, whenever I feel like I'm overwhelmed and I need to take some things off my cup before it overflows and then I go crazy. So it's really important, guys. Check their mommy monitor. You can get something free and you just check them out. So anyway, that's that about the seriousness. Let me put it on the screen. Well, it's really important that we get our mental health right, because whatever you're going through right now, it could be psychological, and that you might need to take that veil that is blocking, your
Have
creativity,
to
your
peel it
success,
off.
everything.
Yeah.
You have to peel it off. And this now saying that, it makes me feel like we're in corporate law class where you have to peel the veil of incorporation.
Lifting the veil.
You are not lawyer, sorry for that. But yeah, you have to lift the veil of
Lift the
incorporation
veil.
and
Yes.
penetrate. So
Yes.
anyway, so I'm going to leave it on the screen and then later I will just take it off. So take advantage of it, guys. So now this question I ask like everybody that comes on my show. Looking at all of the things that you have achieved with your brand thus far, is there anything that you think that you would do different or you would have done differently?
So it's okay. So it's okay because really networking is the new currency. I think it's Miriam that always says that. You need people who have the same values or identical values as yours around you. And we talked about that earlier at length, and it is really, really important. Also, putting yourself out there. I'm sincerely, honestly, still struggling with that. And TY has come to knock me on my head a couple of times. Babe, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, come and do this thing. I'm like, TY, I'm coming, And yes, it's a skill. It's a life skill to have the ability to network and put yourself out there in the manner that would serve your brand well. And that's sincerely the only thing that I can think of to do differently. Other than that, I feel very grateful. I have been extremely blessed. And yeah, that's it.
That's just it. Because at the end of the day, as I said before, I'm also putting myself out there, although I just started in the pandemic. So I feel like 99% of the people I know are all virtual. And I haven't had to meet them in person. But I feel like there will be a day when this pandemic will pack its load and
eventually
leave.
yes.
And then we can all, have a party together, get to meet one another in person. Like, who is this dark proud Black woman, Gogo? How tall? How short? Is she fat? Let's see what she's all about, So, and I know a lot of people be like, I don't know what your name is. I already mentioned it on one of my program, and I'm going to put it again on the screen. So my name is Fikemi, but you know why I usually stick to Dark Proud Black Woman? Because I feel like it's a brand that I want to push. It's a mouthful. When you say That Proud Black Woman, it's a mouthful. So when I tell you my name is Fikemi, you want to go through the short route.
Shorter route.
Never actually know That Proud Black Woman. So I just decided to separate my person from my brand. So I always, when I'm on my show, I'd be like, I'm That Proud Black Woman. It's a mouthful, but guess what? You have to learn it by force. So I'm going to take it now. I already gave you
love the name.
So
We love it.
Olufikemi, but for short, I prefer to be called Fikemi because, who calls Olufikemi is too long anyway. But that's just important, putting yourself out there, networking. Because at the end of the day, I feel like if I had started earlier, I wouldn't be where I am today. That's my regret. I wouldn't be where I am today. I would have probably been, some rich aunt somewhere.
Oh.
You never know.
On magazine covers.
I feel like that fear of, if I leave what I'm doing now, the little money I'm earning, and I go into this and I fail, I won't be able to come back to this one. And at the same time, I don't know if I'm going to get something else. So I keep restricting myself. And a lot of people tell me, you know, you're more than this. Why are you still here? You're more than this. You're more than this. And in my mind, I'm thinking, it's easier said than done. But then now, as I said, listening to all the speakers that I've brought, and I'm like, you know what? I can't be telling people all of this and not taking action in
And
my own
not,
life.
yes.
Right? So a lot of things that I've also started putting in place for myself, for my growth, for my mental health, for everything, to make me a better person, and also to teach my children that if you think about it and if you believe it, you can work on it and you can
Do it,
achieve it.
baby. Yep.
Point blank, period.
Yes, so
Right? So it's
that's the
really
period.
yeah. So it's really, really important. And you know, you can't be saying it without actually doing it yourself. Don't be telling people, you know, motivational speaker that cannot see itself, that cannot help itself out. You have to also practice what you preach. That's the
Absolutely.
take home. So now for this one, it's what would be the key takeaway that you want our viewers, you know, to always keep in mind as regards taking action to stop wishing and start doing? What's that key takeaway that if they forget everything else today, that important thing that they shouldn't forget?
Hmm. I think I mentioned it before. Attitude, like your attitude towards things will go a long way. I was talking about how I struggled through my first year in Canada, and it was really the attitude that I that I was giving things, right? And it took me a whole year to realize that, you know. And one of the reasons that I really, really love Lady Arike for, she projects so much positivity. The positivity should be that woman's middle name, you know. And the things that would make me so upset, she takes very lightly. And you know, she's, of course, she has her struggles, but she's being deliberate about the interpretation she's giving to her situation, and nothing is really more powerful than that. What interpretation are you giving to your situation, really? Because like I mentioned, nothing has meaning unless the meaning that you give to it. So attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. The same thing that will happen to me today. A new immigrant landed which day, and she was saying once they couldn't book a date for to take the G2 test, and she was just so frustrated, and she wants to start driving now, and the kids, and she's having to take Uber. And I told her, sis, go and buy Presto card. Go on the bus with your kids. You will miss these times in 2 years. And now, even though I have access to the car, there are days that I just want to go on the bus because I miss Brampton Transit, you know? And I remember how I hated going on the bus earlier, like some years ago, right? And now I relive those moments and I'm smiling because it is those moments that make your story, right? And my son and I were gisting which day. He was 6 when we landed, and we didn't know how things worked. And so we had, I think we were maybe 5 steps from the bus stop, and the bus just drove past us. And we started running. Wait, stop! Hey, stop! We are waiting. We are here. And of course, the driver didn't stop because the
It's not a
designated
stop.
stop, we
Yeah.
hadn't gotten there when it passed, you know. And when we remember now, we just laugh, you know. And that day, I remember we held each other and we were both crying because it was cold. And I was like, oh, mom, I'm tired. I'm like, hey, me gosh, I'm looking for my own mommy too. Because I'm tired, you know. But how we interpret our situation. So I said to the lady, please take the kids on the bus. Stop wasting money on Uber. Get a Presto car. Let them enjoy this time. Because trust me, by October or whenever that you start booking your tests, this would be a thing of the past. But when you remember this time next year, it would fill you with so much joy that you were able to go on some experiences with your kids, right? So when the attitude is, oh, I'm just so frustrated, oh, I'm tired, things are, why is this pandemic just making things so difficult? The aura around you would not be right, and it will project on the kids.
Exactly.
So attitude really, I can't overflog it beyond this. Really, I think the point has been made.
Yeah, that's really fantastic, because the truth is I never really thought about that part of it. And now thinking about it truly, I find out from my personal perspective, if I'm freaking out about something, it doesn't make it any easier. It just keeps getting worse. And I'll just go from point zero to 10 real quick. But then when I calm down and I think about it, I was like, okay, all this tantrum that I threw, of what good was
What's
it?
the
Did it
result?
fit the situation? Because I remember when my husband tells me, okay, I don't think, because at that point when he's telling me, why are you yelling now? What you should think about, I will even get more mad. Like, you can see
What
I'm
are we
freaking.
saying? What are you saying?
Yeah, because you'll be like, that's not, I don't want to hear what happened. I want to, how can I help you? Like, what can we do to make the situation better?
Mm.
And I would be so angry that he's not trying to listen to all those complaints of what happened at work or what happened. Just let me rant, something like that. But then later on, I'll be like, okay, now ranting only made me even more mad about what happened. And it actually has a point. Like, forget about that. How can we make things better? That one has happened, it's gone. Later on, when you make a success out of yourself, then you can sit down, waste your time and think about,
Yep.
but right now, what can we do to propel forward? What can we do? And at that point, when they say those things, it might not, it will just be frustrating and annoying that this person doesn't understand your point of view. But the truth is, if you're staying sulking, what would it do for you?
Yes, and we
Nothing.
also miss out on important lessons when we don't pay attention. Because, like I said, like there are hidden meanings everywhere. Like I am always looking for lessons to learn. Really, I'm like that. My husband says I'm too serious. Everything is a lesson for me. So we miss out on the lessons when we don't pay attention. Like right now, when I think about it, I wish I had enjoyed my journey better, right? And the point when I decided I will enjoy this journey, like I will enjoy this my journey to the fullest. And I had someone sending me, imagine someone sending me a message on WhatsApp, somebody saying that, are you still a lawyer? God save. And I was so happy. I was so happy. Maybe last year I would have been angry, and then I would have started to question myself that people don't think I'm a lawyer again. There's something I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
Let me go and carry my book, or let me start showing people that I'm reading book. Or do you understand? But I was very content with where I was at that point when the person asked me that question, because that is the idea. I want to enjoy this journey, the licensing journey, the immigration, the relocation journey, all the entire journeys. I want to enjoy them to the fullest. So I am like, I read a lot, and nobody knows, because I'm talking food, and I'm that some people say I just dancing everywhere,
Enjoy the
and
dance, please.
I'm just enjoying myself, really. I'm just enjoying my
Exactly.
life, and it was the point when I decided I will enjoy this journey, because really, what will be there to talk about? Because if you're just overly serious about life, then what's the fun? Where's the fun, right? And and when that person asked me that question, it was really funny, and I was laughing. I was like, okay, mission accomplished. Because I want you not to be sure, and then you just see me in
Yeah.
wig, you just see me wearing wig and gown. Just like, this girl is a bad girl. I should be dancing, so she knows book like this.
Yeah, that's the truth, because sometimes talking about those pessimists around you, or those backlash, or people that just say, oh, are you crazy and stuff. There's a inside joke for me and my husband that we just make, that sometimes when people come on your channel or come on your Instagram and write like ridiculous posts and say, oh, what do you think you're doing, and all of that. There was a video that we not a video, a photo that we saw a couple of years back, where it was a very dirty mattress on the floor in some very nasty room, and there was
Mm,
somebody lying there with very dirty feet on the phone,
mm.
and they said, those are your critics on the internet. They themselves have not achieved nothing. They are
Anything,
letting
yeah.
they're posting affect your mood, affect your life's decision. Whereas they're just jobless people in a very rugged place with their dirty feet typing nonsense. So don't allow those people to affect your mindset. If you believe in something, if you want, like, surround yourself with people that would, encourage you and help
Yes.
you when you're feeling down, like give you a hand up. And also, one important thing for me is paying it forward. I can't overemphasize
Very
that fact.
important.
Paying it forward, so that when somebody does something for you, just like you're talking about Moyo, Lady Arike, Canada vendors, I don't have to pay it back to you. I would be grateful, but I want to pay it forward because they've achieved something. They've
Yep.
made the strategies. I've achieved something. I've made something out of myself. I want the next person to do the same to the next person. And that's how it will continue to spread like wildfire.
Right.
My important thing that I would say, when you finally get up and do something and make something out of yourself, pay it forward. What you're doing right now,
Absolutely.
you're paying forward to a whole lot of people that you don't even know that are watching you right now, and they're taking notes and they're going to apply that to themselves. So my advice for as many people as are watching us today is, when you finally made that decision to take that step and do something about all those wishes you've had in your mind for decades, please pay it forward to other people as well. That's for me. Now that's the end of all the questions I have, except one that is about TFL. So
Oh
I was
my God.
chatting with my sister yesterday, and I said, "Oh, the person I'm bringing, remember where I spoke in TFL Jollof?" She said, "Oh, yeah, 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 I watched it." And she was like, that she wanted to ask a question, which is why I'm asking you. She said, "Are you going to open it up to other African countries to participate, or even people in general, in the even white people or brown people to participate in the contest later? Is it a thing that you're considering? Because it's not only Nigeria that eat jollof rice." So she was
Yes, of
asking.
course. That's what we want to let people know, that jollof rice is a universal language. Everybody eats jollof rice. So yes, thank you for that question. There are plans to expand the concept even beyond jollof. And what's going to happen eventually is the jollof contest is going to be um just an arm of a bigger food festival. So the way we have food festivals where people from different backgrounds come to showcase their cuisine. Yes, so that's the big picture that we are projecting for the brand. I'm using we now because I've entered business mode. Yeah, so that's the big picture, and it's not going to take long at all. I was really hopeful for this summer for things to ease off a little bit with the lockdown. I'm still very hopeful that, of course, we're not going to be able to have the edition of that magnitude this year, because I don't foresee anyone allowing us to gather in 500s and in thousands like that. But if the lockdown eases a little bit, we would have like a picnic kind of gathering this summer. When things ease off, really, really ease off, we would launch the food festival, and then the jollof concert is going to be an arm of that food festival, because the jollof concert is in commemoration of the World Jollof Rice Day anyway, so that is constant. And of course, other people with their cuisines would come on board and showcase, and they will be able to empower a lot more people. A lot of our vendors would get to be showcased to the larger audience, which I think is fantastic. And I'm really, really excited. When I start talking about jollof rice, I'm very excited. I'll start talking very fast. I'll start talking very fast. Okay, so yeah, so that's the plan. I'm really, really, really hopeful for next year to do like the big the food festival. But for this year, we are just going with the flow, depending on what COVID does to us. In the immediate future, very, very soon, sometime in June, there's going to be the TFL Food Summit. And the summit is an avenue to empower food entrepreneurs with the tools, the skills that they need to set up themselves for the opportunities that are flying around now, because this is not going to go on forever. The pandemic is not going to go on forever. And it's important that we take advantage and lock things down now, because opportunities also don't go on forever. So we want to use the food summit to empower food entrepreneurs to set themselves up for success. There are a lot of things happening around that people should take advantage of, and we want people to be positioned in a way where they can take full advantage of that. So watch out for that, guys. And then later, we're hoping that the lockdown will ease off. We're going to have a gathering and, of course, celebrate jollof rice as usual. And yeah, really, really big things coming up. Actually, like I said, I moved, so my page is no longer Aziza doing stuff. I've changed my page to a business page, and so
It's a brand
expect,
page now.
yes, it's now a brand.
Yeah,
I
that's
actually
really
registered my business as the TFL brand because I
good.
knew that there was more to that page.
Oh,
Like
is that
I always knew.
before
Yes. So
somebody else goes the other thing as well?
I
Because
know. So the TFL brand is a registered business in Ontario, Canada, and loads of stuff are coming under. But I don't want to give it all away, but
yeah, don't
get excited.
give them sneak peek.
Get excited, guys.
Yeah, the same thing with my with Dark Black Woman is also a registered business. So
Awesome.
because I feel like by the time it becomes a big deal, somebody, you know how people, the name might no longer be available, right? So
Yeah.
I said to lock it down at the beginning so that when things start to flow, you know, money, money, money.
Yeah. So
So yeah, I just posted the link, an invite link. If anybody wants to join in, to just have a little chit chat with our host or has a question, if you are comfortable with the camera, you can click on that link and you will show up. I'll let you in, or you can leave your questions in the chat box and I will just project it onto the screen. But right now, I'm just going to go through the list of people here that have dropped messages. So one thing I always tell people is normally I acknowledge people coming in just because I can see their messages. If you don't leave a chat, I can see people that are online. So pardon me if I'm not, if I don't call your names because I don't have that. I can't see people except if you leave a message. So I want to say thank you to Joel A. Every single week you show up from the UK. Thank you so much for showing up again today. I really appreciate that. And then I want to say thank you to K Girls. I believe that's Moyo using
yeah.
our daughters. Yeah. So thank you so much for also showing. If you don't know Moyo, Moyo was my last speaker from last week. And we had talked about a very, very fantastic topic that it was thought provoking, and yeah, she's fantastic, y'all. Go check her out, Niger lawyer in Canada. And then I want to say thank you to Olua Tony Ogunwale. Thank you for showing up. I really appreciate it.
TY.
So I want to believe, I don't know that full name, but I feel like that's TK, E-Ticket is fine, is she?
Yes, that's it. It's fine.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for showing up. I really appreciate you. Thank you to my sister Moyo, thank you for showing up as well. Thank you to Lady Arike. I really appreciate you. At some point, we're going to talk about bringing you on this show to come and share with us, all those things that you've been doing. I also, let me see if there's any more names. But remember, guys, I put a link below if you want to join to ask a question or to just say how fantastic a speaker is doing. Just click on that link. If you want to ask questions, just leave it in the chat box before we round up. Thank you so much, Temidayo. I just found out about you last week, and I've been seeing all your support. I really appreciate
Temidayo
it.
is great.
She's
She's
really fantastic.
fantastic.
So thank you so much. I appreciate you, sis. And who else can I see here? Yeah, I think. Okay, yeah, my fantastic friend, Kizzy Valerie Johnson. Thank you for showing support. I really appreciate you as well. Who else is on there? I'm sorry, guys, if I'm not calling your name, is because you didn't rep yourself in the chat box. So please do that right now. Let me know where you're repping. Are you? Oh, look, Zebed Gist Blog. Thank you so much, sis, for also showing up. I really appreciate you. I'm really, really grateful. And yeah. So Lady Aike said, yes, baby. And she also said, "Well done, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for attending." And Temidaya says, "You are welcome, sis." And she also says, "Glad to have you here, Azeezat." So thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate you. I want to believe that this was not a waste of your time. I believe that everybody has one thing or the other that you would have learned from today. If you came in late, that's fine. You can replay the video. It would be on my YouTube channel. Just click on it, watch, and you can also share, because there's so many people that I believe that can also learn from this. So don't be stingy, okay? Don't keep it all to yourself. Yeah, let people, put it on your status, put it on your social media, even a little snippet of it. You can just record a snippet of it and then put a link to your bio so that people can watch and learn as well. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Azeezat. I know I've taken more than an hour of your time, and I know that
It was
you
so
had
much fun.
a really long night. I will leave you now so you can go have a good, probably a sleep.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Fikemi. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for blessing us with your platform. Um, I can't wait to see you make strides. We're always here to support you, and I have no doubt that we're taking over Canada and the
yes,
entire North America with
yes,
that
sure.
proud Black woman. Well done. Thank you so much. It's been so much fun.
Thank you so much. So thank you guys, and we are out.